It was a beautiful Sunday morning, the kind of day where the sun feels warm on your face and the air smells like fresh grass. In the small town of Oakhaven, Easter wasn't just a holiday. It was the biggest event of the year. Families gathered in the town square. Children ran around in their Sunday best, and hidden colorful eggs waited to be found. But for the elders of Oakhaven, the laughter fell hollow. They kept their eyes on the shadows of the forest, checking their watches every few minutes. They knew the legend of the April guest, a tall, ragged figure in a faded rabbit suit that appeared once every few years when the moon aligned just right with the holiday. Young Leo didn't care about old legends. He was 10 years old and determined to find the golden egg, the prize that came with a $50 reward. His little sister, Mia, followed him closely, clutching her small wicker basket. "Leo, wait up." Mia giggled, her yellow dress fluttering. "The woods look scary today." Leo stopped at the edge of the tree line. "Don't be a baby, Mia. The best eggs are always near the old oak tree. Besides, Dad said we have to stay together." As they stepped into the shade of the tall pines, the sounds of the town's brass band began to fade. The air grew strangely cold. That's when they saw it. A single, bright red egg sitting perfectly still on a mossy stump. But it wasn't plastic. It looked like real bone, painted the color of a heartbeat. Leo reached for the egg, but a sound stopped him. It wasn't a bird or a breeze. It was a sound of heavy, wet breathing. Huff, huff, huff. From behind a thick cedar tree, a long, furry ear poked out. Then another. The fur wasn't white or soft. It was matted gray and stained with something dark. A figure stepped out. It stood nearly 7 feet tall. The rabbit mask was frozen in a wide, toothy grin, but the eyes behind the mask were hollow and dark, like 2 empty tunnels. "Look, Leo, the Easter Bunny." Mia cheered, stepping forward with her hand out. Leo's blood turned to ice. He saw the bunny reach into its oversized basket. It didn't pull out candy. It pulled out a rusted chain. "Mia, run!" Leo screamed. He grabbed her hand and bolted back toward the sunlight of the town square. They ran until their lungs burned, but every time Leo looked back, the creature was there. It didn't run. It hopped in long, sickening thuds that seemed to cover miles in seconds. Thump, thump, thump. They reached an old gardening shed near the edge of the woods and scrambled inside, locking the wooden door. Silence fell. Leo held his hand over Mia's mouth to keep her whimpers quiet. Outside, they heard the dragging of the chain. Clink, scrap, clink. Then, the creature began to whistle, a slow, distorted version of a nursery rhyme. Suddenly, a massive wooden claw smashed through the door, right next to Leo's head. The creature wasn't trying to get in. It was playing with them. It wanted them to feel the terror. The door groaned and began to give way. Leo looked at the small window at the back of the shed. It was too small for him, but Mia could fit. "Mia, listen to me," Leo whispered, tears streaming down his face. "You have to crawl out and run to the stage where the mayor is speaking. Don't look back, not for anything." "What about you?" she sobbed. "I'll be right behind you," Leo lied. He pushed her toward the window. As Mia scrambled out and disappeared into the tall grass, the front door of the shed exploded inward. The giant rabbit stood in the doorway, blocking the light. It looked at the empty window, then back at Leo. It tilted its head, making a clicking sound with its throat. Leo picked up a heavy garden spade. "Leave her alone," he yelled, his voice cracking. The creature lunged. The last thing Leo saw before the darkness took him was the town's colorful balloons rising into the sky in the distance, while he was dragged back into the deep, silent woods. Hours later, the sun began to set. The town was in a panic. Mia had made it back, screaming about the gray rabbit. But when the police searched the shed, they found nothing but a single broken wicker basket and a trail of flattened grass leading deep into the mountains. The town fell into a heavy mourning. But 3 days later, On a quiet Tuesday morning, Mia was sitting on her porch when she saw something blinking in the sunlight at the edge of the yard. She ran to it. There, sitting on the grass, was the golden egg from a hunt. Inside wasn't money. It was a small piece of Leo's shirt and a note written in shaky, hurried handwriting. "I'm still here. Keep the light on." The monster had taken him, but Leo was a fighter. Somewhere deep in the tunnels beneath Oakhaven, the hunt wasn't over yet, and he was waiting for his chance to come home.